The Dream SMP script, the hallowed document which contains the plot that fascinates us all and takes us on a roller coaster of emotions every stream. The script that details the arc of every character and allows us to become emotionally attached to the events of fictional kingdoms, nations, and characters. But who writes it, and what kind of pattern does it follow? Today, we explore the Dream SMP script. Before we go on, we are nearly 30% of the way to 5,000 subscribers, so make sure you subscribe before we hit that insane milestone. If you didn't know, all the plot points and lore of the Dream SMP is planned out beforehand. Wilbur, Soot, and Dream write the main overarching script, while everyone else writes the smaller arcs for their own characters. These are all weaved into the main plot and serve to set up larger events on the server. Let's take, for example, the L'Manberg vs. Pogtopia war in November. The overarching story went as follows. After the L'Manberg election, in which Jschlatt won, he began imprisoning or exiling his political opponents, such as Tommy, Taboo, Wilbur, etc. These people fled to TECHNOBLADE, who was an anarchist, meaning he hates the government. They struck a deal to form a rebellion against Jschlatt and punish him, and they gathered resources for the war over a couple of weeks. After the war was set up, it occurred in one of the biggest streaming events of all time. In essence, the rebels easily took down L'Manberg, and Jschlatt was killed canonically after a sort of alcoholism arc in which he spiraled into a depressed state and died of, quote, heart attack. After that, Taboo and Tommy resumed their positions as head of state, but TECHNOBLADE, the anarchists, kill everyone several times over and set up Withers to begin the destruction of L'Manberg. He was used to retake and restore a government instead of destroying the country as he intended. Wilbur went down to a room which contained a switch to blow up the entire country, which he had been planning for weeks. His character had a huge dilemma on when or if to destroy the country. At the moment he pulls the lever, the country is destroyed. He is then killed canonically by Filza, who comes onto the server for the first time ever. Throughout this example, you may have seen some character tropes or archetypes appear. But what is an archetype? According to the Oxford Dictionary, an archetype is a very typical example of a certain person or thing. For example, we could say that Luke Skywalker from Star Wars is a hero archetype. He starts out as a relatable teen and turns into the biggest badass in the galaxy. Or Frodo, in The Lord of the Rings, is the innocent archetype and represents all that is good and pure in Middle-earth. So, let's list out some common archetypes, their qualities, and who in the Dream SMP fits each role. I'll be going off the characters as they are in the plot right now in early February 2021. First, the role of the hero. These are the people who we cheer for and who the writers intend for us to support. They have trials and tribulations, but are ultimately the best character in terms of morals. The obvious candidate for this is Tommy. He is slightly more morally gray than the traditional hero, but he is intended to be the hero. The entire main plot starts with him being robbed, and his quest to reclaim his discs from Dream. His skill in the game is vastly inferior to Dream's, making us cheer him on and support the underdog, being Tommy, in any confrontation. He assumes power, but is not good at holding it, making us want him to win even more. Taboo also fits this role quite nicely. He is less prominent than Tommy, but also runs with Tommy for president, and fights alongside Tommy for the discs throughout the entire plot. He is similarly relatively underpowered, and faces a lot of similar struggles. Second is the role of the villains. There are two distinct types of villains on the SMP. The dignified, sympathetic villain, and the outright evil and manipulative villains. Let's look at the first category. The one who is borderline is Wilbur. His most heinous act was destroying L'Manberg, as I mentioned before, after thinking it had abandoned its founding values. He was part of the rebellion, but ended up flicking the lever which turned a nation into a crater. His ideals of wanting a more perfect nation, but having an unstable and restrictive one is understandable, and this is why he decides to restart from scratch. We can understand his motives, but they aren't the correct ones. The second, quote, sympathetic villain is TECHNOBLADE. He doesn't have any motives based on gaining power, but he fights for his beliefs that anarchy is the best system of government. He wants no entity telling him what to do, and hence fights to destroy the figures of authority, meaning whichever government is in power. He doesn't discriminate based on loyalty and kills any sprouts of power before they even rise. Now, on to the truly evil villains. First, Jschlatt. Jschlatt's character is an unabashed tyrant who doesn't hide his motives. After winning the election through a technicality, he banished his political enemies and made L'Manberg into an unstable nation. He was a power-hungry emperor, but eventually becomes into an alcoholic, canonically dying from this. Finally, the greatest villain on the Dream SMP is Dream himself. He is a sly, manipulative bastard who used sweet-talking to make his way out of any situation he got into. He talked the discs away from Taboo.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for giving me the disc. I just want to say that you're an idiot.
What?
You are an absolute idiot. You just gave me the one thing that I needed to destroy L'Manberg. I don't care about L'Manberg. I don't care about anything. I've said this before. The only reason I had not destroyed L'Manberg is because you had the disc. I had to be friends with you to get the dumb disc back. I don't care about you. I'm not your friend. Okay? I cared about getting the disc back, and I got it back.
And he managed to stop the L'Manberg War through negotiation as well.
He's got enchanted god apples.
His dream! Get him! Dream!
Where?
Get him! He's right there! He's right there!
He's running!
Wait, Isis, we need to talk.
Alright, he's run out of god apples and suddenly he wants to talk. Wait, where did Jschlatt go? We escaped in the chaos.
Okay.
Alright.
Okay.
But only if my enemy insists.
We would like to surrender.
And he took the side of whichever one benefited him. He defended L'Manberg under Jschlatt's regime, and destroyed L'Manberg with TECHNOBLADE after befriending Taboo just to take the disc from him. Our final major character, and the newest one in the plot, is a bit of an enigma, Rambu. While his arc isn't finished, his actions indicate he is a villain. He was a spy on the inside for Techno and Dream when they were plotting to blow up the country, and he definitely aided them. But it is not clear if he was doing these things of his own volition. In his last stream, as of writing, he conversed with Dream in his head. I made a full video about that, click the card. And he confessed to not remembering anything regarding Dream, even though they had spoken many times. Right now, I'd classify him as an innocent with a bad history, but that isn't yet clear as of yet. The script works with each person writing their own parts. So Rambu confirmed earlier today that he is in the process of finishing scripting his arc right now, and Dream is helping with that. Dream and Wilbur weave them all together into a cohesive story, which we have all come to appreciate for its intricacy, emotion, and entertainment value. Thank you for watching. By the way, only about 1% of my viewers are subscribed, so make sure you do that. Anyway, see y'all later.